Well, isn't this something? Today, we are going to go over some commentary made by Elliotte Friedman on the recent 32 Thoughts podcast, how this relates to teams like the Detroit Red Wings, and a further expanded talk on the Tampa Bay Lightning as well. Today, we are talking about one of the most highly touted names on the trade block, and it was posted and talked about in various tweets and social media posts here. I think NHL Rumor Report essentially went out there with the biggest scoop. This was from Sunday morning's 32 Thoughts podcast. The Buffalo Sabres are now listening to trade offers for JJ Peterka. And this is a pretty big deal, mostly because when it comes to young stars available in the National Hockey League, it's hard to find anybody better than JJ Peterka, who's only 23 years old, 6 feet, 190, a left-handed winger center, but he is a player that has had a very strong showing at the National Hockey League level so far. 68 points in 77 games played. This previously completed season, he had more assists and more points compared to the previous year, even though a lot of other Buffalo Sabres guys declined in point production. He had 50 points in 23-24 and 32 points in 22-23. JJ Peterka has been a stud, getting better, scoring goals, doing all this despite the fact that Buffalo isn't really all too great. And because of that, it makes Peterka one of the most valuable pieces on the trade market if you wanted to stick around in that territory of young guys who have the chance to make a big impact here. Now, when you want to talk about teams that could be interested, well, firstly, we had ourselves Frank Seravalli, who spoke out about this on the Daily Face-Off Live Rundown show. He spoke out about how his indication is the Tampa Bay Lightning are going to be one of the teams that are in the mix on the Peterka sweepstakes. He speculated yesterday that the Lightning could be calling on Peterka, and he also had the entire Detroit Red Wings conversation, that in which I think the majority of y'all probably clicked on this video for, because this idea was talked about on the Red Wings subreddit, and the folks over there had a field day with it, unsurprisingly. Coop3 made this post on the R Detroit Red Wings sub. At 24:30 of the podcast, Elliotte Friedman says the Buffalo Sabres have recently changed their position and are now listening to offers for Peterka. Friedman says that reality is sinking in that Peterka is unhappy and he would like to go somewhere else. This post on the Red Wings sub has a ton of upvotes and a ton of comments going out there and saying that, hey, this guy would be an amazing option for the Detroit Red Wings. Fans in the replies clamoring, hey, Stevie Y, please get this guy. Try to make this trade. This guy would be an amazing option for the Red Wings. And so let's dive into the Peterka angle. Let's talk about either of these two teams in Tampa Bay and or Detroit, because of course this is going to come up and a lot of folks are going to really dive into whether or not it'd be worth it. Spoiler alert, is it worth it? I think it is. The price is going to be high, that's for sure. JJ Peterka is a 60, 70, maybe 75 point guy in his early 20s who had just played a really meh season on a terrible Buffalo team. His season was pretty good individually, but the season itself for the rest of the team wasn't great. And so, what's the price on that? I mean, is it a first-round pick and a top prospect and a roster player? That seems to have been the default answer for anybody trying to project a reasonable trade offer for this caliber of a guy for a few years now. When Pierre-Luc Dubois was on the trade block, when Jack Eichel was on the trade block, when Noah Hannafin was on the trade block, it's always, okay, a first, a young prospect, and a roster player. That seems to have been the case, right? But would you say that JJ Peterka is in that field? Is he a little bit better than that, maybe? I don't know. There are a number of things that you could dive into with Peterka in terms of projection, in terms of what he is right now, in terms of saying that this guy has a chance to become a 70, 80, 90 point guy. The fact that there are already tangible results in his NHL profile so far, it bodes very well for anybody trying to project Peterka into the long-term future as that kind of a player. It's just, it probably goes out there and makes the entire trade price that much higher. So would a team like Detroit or a team like Tampa be willing to pay it? I'm not sure. I think Detroit, it's a lot more difficult to answer that fully because the Red Wings have more guys in the pipeline that you could say are trying to be developed and eventually become NHL guys. Tampa Bay, it's like, yeah, they've got Isaac Howard. He's the main big fish that we know doesn't want to stick around over there. And the rest of the Lightning, I mean, they're kind of an older team. They're an experienced, skilled team. They just got Jake Gensel last year, so we know they can take those big swings. They want to still be able to capitalize on Nikita Kucherov while he is in this stratosphere of hockey performing. He is so good, they don't want to let that slip away from their fingers anytime soon. So they want to make some big moves. They want to keep their stars happy. They want to keep the team competitive. That makes sense. And when you think about the Red Wings, for example, I mean, they're a lot younger. At least they should be considered a lot younger. Their best players are their younger guys. They do have some older players as well. Tarasenko, Kopp, Comfer, Hall, Petrie, etc., etc. But, like, this is a team in Detroit that could stand to get a little bit younger, but they also want to be more competitive. And a guy like JJ Peterka is young, and he's good. He is the best of both worlds in that respect. So if Stevie Y had any sort of a list of guys that he could go after, Jason Robertson, Nick Ehlers, Brock Besser, Mitch Marner, a guy like JJ Peterka, now that he is available, he probably should have sprung all the way to the top. And that is not going to change anytime soon. This is a dude that is probably the cream of the crop when it comes to trade candidates in the 24-25 offseason. And for Stevie Y, I mean, if the price boils down to a first, a roster player, and a top prospect, a Michael Brandsegg new guard, alongside of a first-round pick, maybe this year, and then maybe another roster player as well, I mean, do you decide that's good enough? If you go back onto the Detroit Red Wings subreddit, the top comment made on that Elliot Friedman JJ Peterka post is made by the same Coop3. He says this: Stevie Y, please go get this man. Strike before Robertson and others are off the board and other teams up the value. Take advantage of Buffalo's incompetencies and scoop up a legit top 6 forward for our boys. The reply from Heaton31 says, what would you be willing to give up for him? This year's first, Michael Brandsegg Newgard, and someone like Rasmussen or Berggren. I don't know if I'd want to move Casper or Danielson or ASP, but everyone else is pretty much fair game. Also, Buffalo probably has zero interest in a goalie with their young tandem. Honestly, I'd probably be comfortable with Danielson being a piece, but I'd try to have him not involved. And then the first reply from DJ Dickno says, yeah, that's not gonna do it. How is that not enough? Rocket Season says. I wouldn't say it's not enough, it's just not really what Buffalo wants or needs. They're in the same spot as us, trying to make it out of a rebuild. They're not going to be looking to give up a top-line forward for picks and prospects. It'd be someone offering us the same for Raymond. They want a legitimate talent swap. And here's the thing, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that 100%, because it's already been somewhat reported that the Buffalo Sabres would like to get younger again, and they would like to go down that rebuild path again. It seems very counterintuitive, but that seems to be maybe the territory that this Sabres team is sort of leaning down, especially when you think about how all of their guys seem to be unhappy and that they want out. And so we'll see where exactly this JJ Peterka talk goes. For teams that are confirmed in, though, Frank Saravelli Scoop says the Tampa Bay Lightning are right in there, but Detroit Red Wings fans, they're not going to go away anytime soon either. So with all that in mind, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Tampa or Detroit, yay or nay? Do you think JJ Peterka could be heading over to one of these two teams, and what do you think the trade price is? Let me know in the comment section all your opinions. I hope you enjoyed this British Ash Roll sign on, and bye.